me spotlight folks.
Okay, it says meeting is being live streamed. Got it. Okay.
Yes, you're live. Go for your intro, John.
Okay. Should we start? Okay, let's go. So everybody, welcome. So everybody, welcome to First Wednesday Spoken Word Series. I'm Joan Hawkins. I'm the chair of the Writers Guild at Bloomington, and this is a monthly event that the Writers Guild at Bloomington has been putting on for quite a while now, but we've been on Zoom since the pandemic, and we will continue to be on Zoom for a little bit while longer. This is sponsored in part by the Indiana Arts Commission, Bloomington Arts Commission, and the Bloomington Urban Enterprise Association. The Writers Guild of Bloomington wishes to acknowledge and honor the indigenous communities native to this region and recognize that Indiana University and the city of Bloomington were built on indigenous homelands and resources. We recognize the Miami, Delaware, Potawatomi, and Shawnee people as past, present, and future caretakers of this land. We have a number of events coming up. So we have an ongoing program, Third Sunday Right, which is a closed Facebook page, a private Facebook page, where you can, once you join, you can go there, you find prompts, and people will, you get a prompt, you write a poem, or you post something, and people offer responses to you by sharing a read back line, and you respond to others' work in the same fashion. They're hoping that at some point they'll be meeting at Monroe County Public Library again, but for the foreseeable future, they're still going to be online. So to join the group, contact Shauna Ritter at Shauna, S-H-A-N-A, 747@gmail.com, and please include Third Sunday in your subject line. We will not be having our monthly business meeting in April because we're just all too busy traveling. The next regular business meeting of the Writers Guild at Bloomington will be May 14th. On April 23rd, the Monroe County Public Library is joining with us, partnering with us to have a special National Poetry Month program. And so there will be poetry in the plaza Saturday, April 23rd from 4 to 6 p.m. It'll be right by the polar bear statues. And it's presented by the Monroe County Public Library and the Writers Guild. It'll be local poets, and it's an open mic format, first come, first serve. So please come, bring your stuff. Encourage other people to come, and especially encourage first-time readers to come, because this is going to be a very celebratory and sympathetic event, I think. All of this information is available on our website or by liking and following us, on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. Or you can sign up for our newsletter by visiting our website, writersguildbloomington.com. And I should also add that First Sunday Prose, we just had a very nice event with Brian Leung, and we will be returning to our regular format in May with Claire Arbogast, Winnie Lyon, and possibly Nancy Hiller as our featured readers. That will be at Morgan Stearns from 3 to 5. So tonight, we're honored to have John Burroughs, Tony Brewer, and John Compton as our featured readers. And we have tenor and soprano saxophonist, improviser, and composer, Catherine Sakura. So I'm going to introduce the artists. During the first go-round, I will introduce the artists before they perform, and then afterwards, we will just let them take it. So we'll have a welcome for about 5 minutes with Catherine, music for about 10 minutes with Catherine Sakura. Then we will have 7-minute readings each with John Burroughs, Tony Brewer, and John Compton. We'll have music again for about 15 minutes. Then we will have Tony, Jojo, and John for 7 minutes each, and then Jojo, John, and Tony one poem each, any length, with music to take us out, and a good night. And I'm going to go ahead and put this in the chat in case people joined us after Tony pasted it in so that you can all see it. Okay. So our first performer tonight is tenor and soprano saxophonist, improviser, and composer, Catherine Sakura. She was first electrified by the sound of air vibrating in a metal tube when, as a child, she heard the wind playing tones and overtones in a metal gate. She has devoted her life to researching the magic of that sound with her saxophones, particularly in her solo work, which forms the main backbone of her creative output. Her latest album is Corners, which was recorded live in the Brooklyn Navy Yard. It's great. On a beautiful Sunday in May 2021. And it's available along with her other albums on Bandcamp. And I'll go ahead and put the link up in chat, but it's https:// Catherine Sakura, all one word, wordpress.com. So Catherine will play for about 10 minutes and then I'll introduce the poets. People, so that was fantastic. I hope you're able to access the chat because people have been putting in compliments for your playing. It was really, really lovely. So our next performer is John Burroughs, poet of Cleveland, who has served as the 2019 to 2021 Beat Poet Laureate for the state of Ohio. He is a dynamic performer who has wowed audiences from Oakland to New York City and myriad points in between. His more than a dozen books include Rattle and Numb, Selected Poems, 1992 to 2019, which was published by Venetian Spider Press, and Loss and Foundering, that was published by Night Ballet Press. I love the names of these presses. Since 2008, as the founding editor for Crisis Chronicles Press, he has published over 100 books by esteemed writers from around the world. And I'm putting the link to Crisis Chronicles Press in the chat. So please join me in welcoming John Burroughs.
Thank you so much, Joan. And thank you, Kyle and Tony and Catherine. That was wonderful. Wonderful. For my first set, I'm going to read a few older poems, and then the second time around, I'll read from my brand new chapbook. This is the, okay. Wow, it's wonderful to be here. Mark this. Doesn't matter if you laminate me, punch a hole in the end of me, create a neck on me you can tie a pretty rope around. I don't care if you stick me in Shakespeare, in Salinger or Dr. Seuss. Leave me in some tome you intend to finish at some point but never do. Or pick your teeth with me. Leave me thoughtfully on the floor for your puppy to chew. I am the son and heir of tall trees who, though often abused and misused, have gladly given their hearts and bark for the sake of warm homes and art. I'm much more than a bookmark. Disciple. Clarence looked a little like a rabbi and taught us to play truth or dare. And we had no doubt he knew best how to do it, since he had a beard and his own apartment, and we were just 12. Numb and numbered. I see sequence of numbers in everything, though nothing adds up. I see letters and code, what's been gained, what's owed, but what I thought I knew makes as much sense to me now as 2 + 2 = 5, or 6, or 666. An unseemly summation of my 50-odd years of cruel and or kind clue-blind calculations. An accurate accounting eludes me. Go here. Number sequences in everything, letters and code, what's been gained, what's owed, all adds up to any number you like or dislike. Multiplies and divides exponentially, counting down days to a beastly human end. Ultimately, 666 and everything else adds up to nothing, and nothing adds up to infinity. Karma soup draw. Tin can karma in a cemetery green sedan, driving into the past, through the future, running round and round and over the illusory track of time, like a bomb that never goes off, like a song that rings in Campbell's soup cans, round and round the rim, not going out or in, just sticking to the circuit, like a one-ring soup can gerbil wheel circus, till the tin finally erodes. The illusion of time caves in, and full circle cemetery green karma darts to the next can in the aisle of now. So I spent a lot of the pandemic writing angry, which I'm trying not to read tonight, but some things, you know, I can't help but be a little angry about, in like this war in Ukraine. It's just horrible. And this is an older poem, but sadly, it still applies. Bloodshot. Indian summer sun squints, bloodshot like the wide, wounded eyes of our cynical Seneca ancestors. On and on and on, an endless queue of unrelenting conquistadors lusting for booty or lust, defile our trust and defame the name of God in the name of God. Opportunity does not knock for trusting tribesmen, be we from Arizona, Africa, the Amazon, or Akron, Ohio. Writing roughshod for every allegedly endless empire, including America, the beautifully dutiful, the cursed hearse of history leads a parade of pathetic and unsympathetic plotters, plodders, priests, and presidents, electable eels who feel their forked tongues and dung make them agents of distinction instead of extinction. Sweetly sighing lullabies of liberty and expediency, these leaders open their bomb bays as they pray, first for the unconditional surrender of our enemies, and last, if at all, for the bloodshot souls of the soon-to-be charred children of Hiroshima, Hanoi, Belfast, Belgrade, Baghdad, Bethlehem, Kyiv, and coming soon to a theater of war near you. And I have one more poem to read in this section, and I'm very much looking forward to hearing everybody else. This is entitled Kiss, because it's always better to end everything with a kiss, I think. You pronounce Les Jardins like Les Jardins, but I find the way you pout your lips and curl your tongue as you enunciate sweet evidence that your other French is exquisite. Very much.
Those were wonderful. The angry poems were very strong, and that last one was just exquisite too. Tony Brewer is our second reader, and he is a poet, live sound effects artist, and event producer from Bloomington, Indiana. He frequently collaborates with the experimental audio collective Urban Deer Recording Company and appears on the albums Paris Suite and The Six Realms of Rebirth, due out later this year. He's the author of 7 books. The latest is Pity for Sale, just out from Gasconade Press. And I'm putting his link up in the chat. And I have to add that Tony's a good friend of mine. And among his other many gifts is that he can drive from Bloomington to Evansville quicker than any man alive. and get us there in one piece, which is amazing. So it is my great pleasure and honor to introduce my dear friend, Tony Brewer.
Thanks, Joan. It's good to be here. Good to be here with everybody. I'm actually not in Bloomington tonight as I might normally be. I'm in downtown Bell, Missouri. I'm doing a week-long residency here at the Osage Arts Community. And if I sound a little boomy and reverby tonight, it's because I'm in the Osage Arts Center here in downtown Bell, which is just a mile or two away from the Gasconade River, where Gasconade Press takes its name. And this is really weird because the guys that run Gasconade Press that published the book are there at John Burroughs' house tonight, because John Dorsey and Jason Rieberg left here earlier this week to go do a reading in Cleveland. So we're everywhere. We're all over the place this week. But I'm thrilled to be here. It's been a great time, and I've gotten a lot of work done too, and done some great readings here in Missouri, including this one. I'm kind of in Missouri. I'm kind of in Bloomington. So I'm going to read some things from Pity for Sale tonight. This is Keeping It at Bay. So that's the end, he said, and licked the knife that touched the spider, leaned back from the smoke. He'd been telling all night, and it was a good one, meaning it killed time and made us think about what was left and who had what. The blurring of facts for effect troubled some who knew no better than to believe the stage. Truth in hands, parting curtains for entry and exit, and the candle back there produced to represent the moon, clung to for hope and cynicism. Story, molten alloy in the crucible of voice, fired by many eyes rushing up the cold flue of the self. He will not say it in public, but to him, they look like stars glinting in the dark beyond where the light can reach. Some nights he needs them to be wolves. Withholding sax. You do not get to have jazz in the woods, which is not to say the instruments cease to exist or the concept migrates to home like dark birds of prey to ledges of concrete edifices and the squeal of innocent subways, as if a music come up in fields now refined only sits up straight at table, orders its own damn scotch and soda, applauding a heretofore unknowable unknown, sits cool in a suit, straightening its tie, brushing cigarette ash off its lapel, feeling the heat and the press of a gyrating, if only in crowd moments before, after, taking a late night stage, club owner short changes, even stiffs. But out there, man, out there on the edge of a blade, cutting the air in so many savage, sensual ways, I'm just saying you might not appreciate it so much in the woods. Might be better off listening to something else. Here's a haiku. 2 used syringes, dandelions in mown grass, their seeds blown away. If I can find it. Oh, there we go. Oh, bury me not. Oh, bury me not. I cannot escape the corn nor walls for shadow rest. Red skies at night when always, always golden rays. The drivers laugh passing by, defeat in the wind when we are winning. Fields whisper like cities shout long nights wherever is home. Men, permanently boys, shrugged into father coats, touch bombs before dropping microcosms too large to hold skin and ink, and corn gets put in everything. The dust explodes. Pick a season that's cruel, its pleasant memory as landscape shields a strangled sob. The cut leaves growing space repressed humanity needs to live, so one man can enjoy the quality of light upon such stricken ears as heaven conjures its own myth of endlessness shattered by a fence. And I'm going to do a couple more here for this round. This is, I'll just launch into it. A Buddhist eating a hamburger is asked how she plans to atone for this injustice. She replies, one must approach the dilemma with a diamond of eyes, each facet a truth. Wet meat lingering on a concrete floor, farmers raising grain, and vets with vaccination needle shooters. The feeding and stroking and herding, a long sequence of metal mazes and latex gloves and awful stained fields, hands touching her meaningfully for the first time, belonging to a leather-aproned butcher with a bolt gun, a foot switch to a slick drum, and a hot bone saw with a shiny red smile. Ruminate on the genealogy of industrial violence and sustain yourself. For acceptance and forgiveness lead to the cessation of all suffering, she says, taking a big, juicy bite. She then considers the French fries and the potatoes, whence they came. Who prays for them? What memorial 8x10 glossy will loom over a candlelight vigil in somber observance of boiling oil and 1,000 crinkle cuts? Who weeps for the vegetables? No one. No one, she concludes, smacking the 57 on a glass coffin of ketchup. Our origin. Tell me a story. Not how your day has been, that you cleaned the cat box, took out the trash after clearing the refrigerator of dead, uneaten food. House spirits care for these details and the piles of spite it takes to motivate your ass to chore away a Saturday. I want your legends and myths, not the lie-consuming cycle requiring a ladder to properly tuck away, or the rumor slouching down Main. Sirens going whoop whoop through the intersection have it cammed for their protection. Will we be stranded on this rock forever? I remember how to make a raft from a movie, and the movie in my head where Dad was there to tell me how and do it all himself. Where fate got slammed, a pool formed. I filled it with neat colored rocks I found by the riverbank. Not naturally occurring, a plot, some action, and the eyes glaze over because telling is no substitute for show, reduced in this textual world to merely unbelievably enthralling. Back into the stars you go, up, up into the cloud with ringing ears from the chorus glory. Nothing need be foretold, but save us from the random with singular vision and undeniable breath. Leave nothing out and make it good. Thanks.
Fantastic. Were they from the new book? Okay. So our third reader, I should add too that Tony and I are going to be reading together on Tuesday, April 19th at Evansville at the Boca Lounge at 7 p.m. Central Time. So if you are around Evansville, come to the Boca. They have food. They have a nice bar. They have Shakespeare's Monkey, which is a great band, great poetry band, and they will have us. And that'll be Tuesday, April 19th at 7 p.m. Central. Our third poet tonight is John Compton, who's a gay poet who lives in Kentucky. He's published 2 books and has 5 chapbooks published and forthcoming. Trainride Elsewhere, published by Pressed Wafer. Stranger in the Attic of Clouds, Dead Man's Press. And the chapbooks are That Moan Like a Saxophone, that's a Kindle book. Ampersand, published by Plan B Press. A Child Growing Wild Inside the Mothering Womb by Ghost City Press. I Saw Pretty Things Off My Skin, Ethel, Zine, and Micropress. Oh, I'm sorry. I Saw Good Cooking Children Paint Their Bones. That's from Blood Pudding Press. And To Wash All the Pretty Things Off My Skin. That's from Ethel, Zine, and Micropress. He has been published in numerous magazines and anthologies. And I am dropping his Facebook page into chat. Please join me in welcoming John Compton. Thank you.
I always forget people read that. It should be much shorter. So the first poems I'm going to read is from a newest full-length manuscript that's out in the world and hopefully found a home soon. And the titles are people's names mostly. Mary, your mouth is my grandmother's. She now speaks with her dead voice from your vocal cords. The sharp vowels try to pin my conscience. Strong consonants devalue my power. The words themselves leak resin. Wife and child escape her teeth trying to catch me. She cannot understand I don't want either. That I am not gay because I choose to be, but simply I am. Her pyramid scheme of love is ancient. She drives to me with prayer. I turn her way with heat. And that's that poem. And then this poem is titled Witch. And it's after accidentally taking too many aspirins. Little white demon, you react with my stomach and combust. A twist of acid and foam rises like blood-drawn smoke, signaling from my mouth a confused disaster. Little white demons, I swallowed you to stop the pain, instead donated this body to burn. And that's that poem. This next one is titled Elena. I felt her ribs loose and tarnished like jewelry that never fit. They moved under her muscles, riveting across broken seams, each bone diagonal with a finger. I want to play her music, her 17-year-old violin, but the strings are corroded and I'm afraid I'll be miscarried. And that's that poem. This next poem is titled Roland. If my father had not sewn his palms to my mother's womb, I would have never known his existence. His voice like vinyl, thick and scratched, barely audible through the skin. If he had known my ears worked, maybe his voice would have been louder, and he wouldn't have been afraid to say, I love you. And that's that poem. This next poem is titled John. My birth caused hemorrhaging. I broke my mother open, excavating through placenta and breath. My first scream became default. I knew the hospital walls. For 3 days I studied them, waiting to find my mother's face. That day I killed parts of her she would never replace. But her smile didn't condemn me. Her voice lulled awakening. And that's that poem. And this poem is titled Elena 2. I want to eat her voice, the way the words sound soft, easy to swallow, thick in my throat and fulfilling. To feel it drum in my stomach, each vibration different from each vowel and each consonant, the rolling R's and the S's hissing. And then that was that poem. And this one is, oh, there, my computer decided to be funny. And this one is just titled John 2. I am damaged, less like my father and more like my mother. No, I have collected brokenness from both. Father's is hard to find. He hides it inside his chest, but if you're patient, you'll see the indifference, the indignity. Mother sits on her whole self. It is vulnerable and loud. Thunder and bombs and the crying child left until touch becomes a stranger and hurts. I am the hybrid of many generations. And that's that poem. And the last poem I read in this section is from my second book, Stranger in the Attic of Clouds. And Kyle has the painting behind him. I hope it's Kyle, right? Yeah, Kyle, sorry. And so and it's a Joan Mitchell painting, and I realized I wrote a poem about a Joan Mitchell painting, so I decided I'll read this too. And it's called Hudson River Day Line by Joan Mitchell, 1955. The painting reminded her of water gushing from his mouth, the sea foam that corroded his teeth. His lungs were aquariums that hid seahorses and starfish. Under the faint moon, waves kept resurrecting him until finally he swam into the calm. Thank you. And thank you for letting me be here. And everybody's been amazing. And I'm super honored.
Thank you so much. Those were great. I'm a big Joni Mitchell fan too, so that was or Joan Mitchell fan too, so that was a lovely way to end. So now we're coming back to Catherine for about 15 minutes of music, and then we'll come back with another set of poems. So Catherine, do you want to play away? Another round of virtual applause for that wonderful music, please. It's fantastic, really fantastic, Evan. So for our next set, we're moving back to spoken word now. And so our first reader for the second set is Tony Brewer. Each poet in this series will be reading for 7 minutes. So Tony.
Catherine, that was amazing. Thank you so much. That was really, really fantastic. Thank you. So I'm going to read some more from my new book from right here near the Gasconade River, from Gasconade Press, from my book Pity for Sale. This is Working Through It. I dreamed we were on a cruise, but I was the seductive bartender. Our problems were obvious before this, and I make what you want. We were dirt poor and saved for years for this trip where I work while you drink. The movements of the ship are imperceptible, and there are too many people. We are only alone in our stateroom I sneak to after my shift. It is a short dream, a bridge from one odd, unremembered moment to the next. It is meaningless except my memory of it. We hated cruises, though we'd never gone on one. We have been split for 15 years. I cannot now recall what came before, and what came after blurs and blurs right up to this clear, awakened present. Wolf Trap. Wolf Trap. The bar at Applebee's in Wolf Trap, Virginia is the saddest place in the universe outside of a jammed airport in Kabul. I'm serious. People here are dead. No one has the decency to close their eyes. The tender leans over my notebook. Dude writes like that, he's asking for it, as if I'm going to get it. They're going to label you, he says, oblivious to his own tag and flair. I've been dressing like an old man since the 90s. It's all that shows up at Goodwill, dead men's shoes. Suddenly, on TV, we have won, as if a bar fight left behind in a bloody heap makes one a as if scoring in a parking lot from a stranger at a concert makes one crafty and cooler than a stranger in an alley, as if the fightin' fix did more than shim the banks. The tender rings the last call bell. I'm done, but of course have another Pavlovian response in place of foreign policy. Some guys make bets, squeezing bar towels into a snifter. $5, any takers? There's always one. And if not, there's one out there on the verge. Maybe not $5, maybe $10, or a smile from the right pretty face. Some nights they do it for nothing, which is still something, but try telling that to a soldier on leave. Here is a short one. The social safety net. The social safety net. People recite the same prayer every day, many times a day, for most of their lives, because it beats repeating the same old curse, but you still got to keep one on hand because who knows? Oh, I do not have nearly enough Post-it notes to find all of these. There we go. Call and response. Call and response. How does it happen? It always happens. Who set it in motion? There is no motion, only time. What is time? A constant, a fantasy, a cage. Do you feel safer now? Yes and no. Safer within the laws of the cage, but fearful of its man-made construction and comfortable with its supernatural fantasy. Does everything have a purpose? Don't mistake complexity for brilliance. Who has all the answers? The earth. Who guards the light at the end of the tunnel? Darkness. Will the questions cease? Never. Why are we here? Otherwise is unconscionable. How do we escape? Don't think. I'm going to do 2 more. Why did I make them so hard to find? There we go. Okay. There we go. Yeah. Bookmark for that one. Okay. All this waiting. All this waiting cannot be good, but the clocks don't mind. Their unreadable faces and backs to the wall. Nothing ages you like the death of your father. Man of the house now, lord of Lazy Boy Manor. We gave oxygen back, ran out of boxes for pill bottles, syringes, inhalers. Oh, library of unread cancer books, unlistened to CDs on breathing, way requiring decades more, and more faith than Amazon ships free, speak of hope and broken promises. The kitchen clock needs winding every 8 days. We keep the key inside, no warning. Some middles of night, it simply stops. And last one for this session. At the end of the session. At the end of the session. 2 hours ago, the music had a sweet melancholy and a melancholy sweetness. Fast or slow, it pained and soothed the notes and the memories they evoked, and the muscles paying for playing them, like a bump on the head so hard it feels good, or scratching poison ivy, or drinking past the point of social lubrication and onward as dim sunlight moves the shadow of a great henge till the beer breaks on the granite of the gut and soaks into the stomach's bog. For the skin is the earth, just as the voice is the warbling heaven of an E string, stabbed with a finger twisting in the wound of notes near the heart. A non-traditional technique, but just then the tune's winding down, all the cheer gone out of the table, no more money left for pints. There was a rightness musicianship does not require. Even happy dogs sighing seem sad, content at master's feet, worn out and gray around the muzzle, but not yet too old to get up and play. Thanks.
Those were fantastic, really fantastic. I haven't had a chance to read the new book yet, so this is my first listen too, and they're just wonderful poems, wonderful poems. So our next reader in this round is John Compton, and so John, turn it over to you.
Well, thank you. So the poems I'll be reading now are out of my chapbook manuscript, one of my, that is floating around, hopefully be published soon. This one's titled Before We Understood That Death Was Here. We thought you had a stomach ache. We thought it would pass. We thought we could save you. We never thought you'd be buried below the grass. We thought you'd wake one morning and return to your normal self. We thought we'd get you back. We never thought you'd die at the vet. We thought we'd watch you grow, play, and give us laughs. We never thought you'd sleep and wither, frail like a vase full of petals, vibrant than an empty shell. We thought for too long. We thought you into the ground. And that's that poem. So, the next ones are about I watched movies of poets, like documentaries or movies based on poets, and then I'd write a poem that came to me. So the first one's titled Allen Ginsberg. We are particles never to be broke. We scour like worms through the apple for substance, yet all we find is the rind, dried and leathered. We howl, yet night shows his dark permeating black spine. I never want to taste something so sweet, to deny my tongue the withdrawal. And that's that poem. And this next poem is titled Arthur Rimbaud. I can't pronounce his last name, but you should know a poet. What heirlooms should I hang for my ears? What pieces of poetry? Pages dangle, loose ink scribbles down my neck, blue violent against my skin. And that's that one. This next one is titled Jim Carroll. Heroin, and heroin for $20, and heroin in the bathroom stall while your dick gets sucked by an old fag, and heroin on the basketball court, and heroin at your mom's house, and heroin on the rooftop while a man falls to his death, and heroin as your friends go to jail, and heroin with the needle you found on a stranger's table, and heroin at 3 a.m. to comfort withdrawals, and heroin arms, and heroin eyes, and heroin mouth, and heroin, 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 sung like a ballad. And that's that poem. This next poem is titled Emily Dickinson. A lovely tusk perched in her throat like a songbird waiting to fly from the hyoid bone. For decades after she embraced Susan's body, penciling love letters and poems on scrap papers. Though suspicion about their passionate affair increased, so they washed their feet for their journey ahead, covered themselves in sheets until their bodies were hidden and names erased, later found. And that's that poem. And this next poem is titled William Carlos Williams. Pulling the red wheelbarrow before breakfast, full of plums, wheels squeak through the house to the operating table to inspect how the knife carves through their skin, how each piece cleaves free. Rather, hunger subdued me, so I ate every last one, leaving a glazed plate as the note. And that's that poem. And This poem is not in that series. It's just like a normal poem now. Because they war. Write about how many bullets can fit into 7 mouths. Start a war. Cut holes into their bodies. Get used to seeing graves. Children fit inside easier. Blood drains, making floods. Wash evidence. Pain is too easy. Dismember torso. Remove arms and legs. Rewrite each name into each stone chest. Decapitate the heads. Place the eyes face down. There is no need for seeing. Crying is faint echoes of wind. And that's that poem. And I read one more. And this one's untitled. To die and from corpse mouth blooms a rose. Tender petals push lips into a vase. Decay, give me a gift. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And then the third reader in this round is John Burroughs.
Wow. All of y'all are so good. I'm just, whoa, I'm in awe. I want to listen to you more than I want to read myself. I should mention that my first set of poems came from my book, Rattle and Numb, which is like selected poems. And now I'm going to read from my latest chapbook, which was published by Between Shadows Press. You Can't Trust It to Remain. And they're poems inspired by a lot of people I've lost recently, and all the titles of the poems and the title of the chapbook come from Silver Jews songs. David Berman, their frontman, committed suicide in 2019, and well, I'm just going to get on with the poems. Tied to the Oceans. Listening to Starlight Walker while sifting words for new poems, I hear from William Miracle, who says he's enrolled in hospice and intends to graduate with full honors. David Berman from his grave and records sings, "If you can swim, then swim to me," while I stand on the sand, clutching drafts of the elusive and rail against the waves. Random rules. There is nothing worse or better than Purple Mountain's majesty or a Purple Mountain's tragedy. In 1984, I was traumatized by entering the Marine Corps and refusing to serve. It made me servile, temper lie. Don't let your parents make you value killing over communism. In the Gulag, I wanted to be the Berman when I grew up, though I had not yet heard of him. By the time he shot himself, I had changed my mind. If there is a point to this life, I am still outlining it. Find the patterns, fully embrace multidimensionality, whether or not it's plain to see. Don't let your parents make you value religion over reality. Was a travesty, probably was. You can still find value in it, like religion. Semper Fi Delis. In 1984, I fell in love with Purple Rain, and Laura fell out of love with me. Don't let your pastor convince you to break up with your crush. This poem has nothing and everything to do with its inspiration, like responses to a Rorschach test. Purple robes cannot confer holiness, though art can allude to them, and art is always holy. Imbibe Hold on, let go, embrace more than one medium. See life as an hallucination with or without drugs. Realize the hallucination is real. In 1984, I was ill or well, depending on who you ask and when. Perhaps I still am. There is no other. Be friends and strangers with yourself simultaneously. American water will make you both. Slow education. And this poem has an epigraph, which is, people need context like a motherfucker, Scott Woods. Rust Belt ragamuffin ripcord song in this key of, are you kidding? Mean miss, treat her right. You think you need luxurious silence to write poetry? But beat is only silent when you're deaf or dead. Skyfall, skedaddle, Serena, sound soak, bold style, tripwire, gold, wild, Regina. You think poetry needs to make sense when it doesn't need, but always make sense, rarely dollars, and you think awry. By you, I mean I. Turn your guns around, after William Carlos Williams. So much depends upon a well-oiled barrel, warm Bonnie before the last ambush. Let's not, and say we did. Coming from Kerouac's grave and approaching the New Hampshire coast, I see a sign for Seabrook and imagine it says Seabrook. I recall Jack's stone says he honored life. See myself in communion like a wafer snapped in two, falling backward into the cool Atlantic, or a warm glass of the Beat brand single whiskey I picked up on the road to Portsmouth. Lines blur along with the distinction between drown and dissolve, honored and extinguished. The Frontier Index. 10 pages into Ginsberg's Iron Horse, already masturbated, been fucked, eaten ass, and invoked Hart Crane. Heroin is the one illicit drug I've never tried because I'm already on my own high horse. Good, evil, and indifferent are mirages, oceans on the same sine wave. The beat of a poet's heart is syncopated, lost at sea, unfathomable. There are no bad words. The line between living and dying lies blind on the tracks. And my final poem, thank you so much. Inside the golden days of missing you. In my city of lost places, today is the 5th anniversary of my wife Jerry's death, and I'm grief-eating almonds because a spoonful of sugar helps death's nuttiness go down. I take solace in singing, I dig a pony until I become hoarse. 2 weeks ago, my friend Haymond relinquished any hope of a liaison with poppers when they disconnected him in Somersville. I invoke John because Paul is not dead. George is something else, and Ringo will outlive Keith Richards. 6 weeks and 2 days ago, Helen Shepherd left her castanets for the duende of eternal silence. In my city of the lost, there is a place where the ghost of David Berman sings of Candy Jail with pretty eyes and open field where sleeping is the only love. 3 days ago, William Miracle, his last miracle. Thank you so much.
Wow, these are just great. We're going to have a kind of a lightning round. So John Compton, then John Burroughs, then Tony Brewer will each read one poem. And I'm not going to interrupt you by introducing you each time. So just one tips into the other. So John Compton goes first, John Burroughs second, Tony Brewer, you bring up the rear, so to speak. Okay.
All righty, so this is a poem I've been working on for an eternity. Usually I don't work on poems for eternity, but I've been writing it for 2 years and it's not done, but I like what I have, and so it's about my house and it's about the ghost in my house. So here, and it doesn't have a title yet. So the house propositions us. Her porch a greeting inward. Her curtains ripple like a curtsy in the calming shadows which lurk. Her voice, lull and deep, spills from the doorway. Come in here. The door creaks a serenade. My eyes adjust. The sun cycles its weight behind us. The pink room catches my peripheral, becomes intense in its entirety. The two angels with bead eyes deteriorating on a mounted wall shelf hold our attention as they peer down on us, their fabric wings limp. The hand-carved mantel sits cold, the fireplace brick closed, and the chimney long forgotten, the taste of smoke. Not even the snakeskin in the wall curling around water pipes scares me away from investigating deeper into the lone hallway as my husband and mother race from their certain death. Their shadows stand beside me, wondering if they should follow their human self or wait patiently or fade into the cutscene. Her voice is a loud crack in the silence, floating just below the ceiling like a draft. A chill raises the hairs on my head. Her voice was sensual and lost. She spoke, yet only to the listeners. I heard her broken language like an echo. And that's all I have of that poem. Thank you for letting me be here, for letting me read. Everyone was wonderful. The music, so amazing, so soothing. I never get to listen to live music, so that was very joyous. So thank you, everyone. You're all amazing. I'm honored. It's been wonderful.
Wow, that was awesome. You mentioned the Boca Lounge earlier, so I just want to interject that I'll be there on June 21st, and I would love to see everybody there again, if the universe cooperates. This poem comes from recently published Appalachian Ohio Voices anthology, published by our poet laureate, Carrie Gunter Seymour. I was born in West Virginia, though I was raised in Ohio. And it's entitled, Come, Pass. East and West collide and mesh in ways no mechanical device can measure. There is no true north or south here. only our spiraling towards what is and seems meant to be. Heart needles spin like clock hands, but swifter and less certain. I take my direction from you. Y'all are amazing. Thank you.
Wow. Thanks to the two Johns tonight. You guys were really, really great to have you both, and Catherine as well. I'm eager to hear your final bit. So this is a very short poem, but it's going to require a little bit of setup. I posted an image earlier this week of the packet of poems left behind that I have from 12 years of doing poetry on demand at various festivals and whatnot. And it's usually never just me. It's almost never just me. It's usually I work with a group of poets, and it's often a different group at every event. And as happens sometimes, people do not come back for their poem. So I've got this packet of poems left behind that I've been working on this week. I'm working on transcribing and ordering them, and I'm going to try and put out some sort of chapbook of this collection. I'm hanging on an envelope though because people do come back. I'm working on an introduction to it as well, and one of the things I mentioned is that I think the longest gap between the written poem and someone coming back for it is 2 years. So I hang on to the envelope because I think the last time somebody came to the 2019 spoken word stage there at 4th Street and said, you know, I had a poem written a year or two ago, and do you possibly still have it? And yeah, of course I have it. So I hang on to all of them. But I wanted to read one from the packet tonight. This is from the 4th Street Festival, September 3rd, 2016, and this is called What Would Thoreau Do? What would Thoreau do? These are days the pond was made for. The mind, like a skipped stone riding its own echo, then sinking. The safe space of the forest, unencumbered, disinterested. The fertile earth, perfect, unable to vote. Eternal outsider inside us all. Thank you. And thanks to everyone for being here. And thanks to Joan and Kyle for dealing with a little bit longer distance than usual. Thanks to everybody for being here.
That was amazing. Thank you all so much for the beautiful work and for allowing me to be a part of it. And I hope that my hound gives me another 5 minutes of relative peace to play.
Kyle, can you unmute us all so we could have an audible round of applause? Yeah. It's a fantastic evening. I want to thank everybody who participated and everybody who came. And I'd also like to announce that next month, first Wednesday, we will be celebrating or commemorating or marking Asian Pacific American Heritage Month. Our poets will be Nancy Chen Long, J.L. Cato, and Shreya Fadia, and the music will be by Sylvia Medrano Edelstein. So I hope that you can join us then for that. And as with this month, we will be streaming live on Facebook, and we will circulate the Zoom link for people who want it. So you're free to hang out and talk to each other and to other performers if you want to. If you have to leave, we understand. Thank you so very, very much for coming. And it's been a lovely event. Have a good evening.
You too.